Alright guys, we are back with the mini album, and check this out. I went ahead and matted all of my pages. See that? So everything has a mat now. I just thought that would save us some time, and we've already gone over that. And I got to tell you something I discovered. You know, I showed you how to mat the page, and I showed you how to measure the whole thing and then use the little punch and blah blah blah. I think you probably can just do them individually, because when I did these pages, I just measured this page by itself and did the punching in the machine, and it worked just fine. The reason I thought we had to do it in one sheet is because I wanted to make sure that this was deep enough, but these curves are just fine, and I did not do this the same way. So if you feel more comfortable when you're matting these pages, instead of doing that big long page that I showed you, you can just literally measure this section and this section, and then just corner around using your punch board these edges, and it will work just fine. So either way, you can do it the hard way like I showed you, or the easy way. I wish I would have played with it more before I showed you, because I think I would have done the video differently. But never fear, it still gets matted, right? Okay, here's where we are now. We're going to go to this peacock page. If you remember, you guys, my room is such a mess. Okay, if you remember, this is the layout for page 2. And I know you guys are probably getting tired of seeing me use that binding method, but I really wanted to use it again here because I wanted to make some pages that open like this using this binding method. So I'm still going to use that same method I did like on the flip pages, and how we did here. I just want to do a smaller version of it on this page. So that's what we're going to do next. Now I'm really wanting to be able to use some of these scraps, and I think this one's going to be just fine. Let me see how wide this is. It's going to be just right. Okay, let me tell you what I want to do. I want to cut this down to 2 inches by 7 1/4. The reason is I want to be able to put 3 pages in here, which means I'm going to need 3 slices, okay? Because we're still using this same method, and I want 3 pages. Now, somebody had said in the comments that they were kind of scared of it because of the math. If you work this out in 1/2 inch segments, it's pretty easy. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut it to 2 inches. Make sure it's at 2 inches. I think it might be, but I want to be sure. It's a tiny bit over. So I'm going to cut this down. I mean a tiny bit over. Okay, and then I'm going to cut it down to 7 1/4. This will give me just a little bit of gap on that page at the top and bottom, so I won't go fully to the top and bottom. Now for this section, this is where I was telling you that I want you to think of these in 1/2 inch segments, okay? We're going to make this so that we can have 3 pages. Doing this in 1/2 inch segments helps me to do that easier, okay? Because we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, and at 1 1/2 inch. Now what this does is it creates this area for a page to be inserted, this area for a page to be inserted, and then this area for a page to be inserted, leaving me a 1/2 inch border on both sides and 1/2 inch between the pages. The reason that makes it easy is because you're not having to figure out how many pages can I get in here or what have you. If you use an even number or 1/2 inch numbers, you'll be able to do this easy. If this page went to 3, I could add another page. I could add 2 more pages, because I could add 1 here and I could add 1 here and still have a 1/2 inch border. I hope that makes sense. I want you to understand that it's not as difficult as it might seem. Alright, I'm also going to score 1/2 inch up. I'm going to have a little more of a border than I normally do on these. I think I've been doing a 1/4 inch, but I'm going to do 1/2 inch up on either end. Now you guys know the drill, right? You use your crocodile, you use the small hole, and where these cross, you punch your hole. Can you guys see how versatile this is? Just wait till you see how we're going to use it here. It's basically the flip book, but it's just a different dimension. Okay. So I have my holes. You're not going to be able to see it on this paper. This paper was hard for me to see, but I have those holes made. So I'm back to my ruler and my X-Acto knife. Okay, so using the ruler and the X-Acto knife, remember, we're going to line this up and try to center those holes and just make a slice on the score line. Okay, so there's one. Same old, same old. This is getting to be easy, and it's getting to be old hat. I just think this is the coolest way to get this stuff done. And it's so easy. Okay, so I have my slices made. Let me show you. See? So pages are going to go in there just like we've been doing, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut craft paper that will be the length of this slot. And I'm going to cut 3 of them because I want to have 3 pages for this, okay? So I'm going to measure that slot. And my thing is, even if I know what the length is, I'm a double checker, triple checker. I just do that. I'm going to cut these pages at 6. It looks like I could fit 6 3/8 in there. Not 6 1/4, not quite gonna work. So 6 3/8. But I also want to measure, because I told you I'm a measurer. And one of the reasons I like to measure is because, number one, you should always measure multiple times. But number two, I kind of walk away from this book and come back to it and do this, that, and the other. So you want to make sure you're checking multiple times. Now this binder is going to go right here. And so I'm going to have 3 pages. But these pages are going to stagger, okay? Because if I make them all the same width, they will automatically kind of like stagger. Just like these do. When I close these pages, see how they stagger? That's what's going to happen, and that's good. So okay, so my page can be 4 1/4. But I need to add 1/2 inch for my tuck under in the slot. So I'm really going to cut them at 4 3/4 by 6 3/8. And I'm going to do this with craft paper. All of this should be getting really familiar to you now, because now we need to score our fold so we can tuck it under. And we're going to do this at 4 1/4, because remember our page will be 4 1/4 wide. And give us 1/2 inch to fold into the slot for binding. Alright, I'm going to fold this down, score it, or I don't know why I struggle with that word. I'm going to burnish it, going in both directions a couple times because I like it to be kind of loose. Now we're fixing to mix this guy up. This is where we're going to get exciting and do something different. So I've got this area ready, okay? But before I put these in place, we're going to cut one other piece. Now this binding system that we're fixing to use is going to use 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces of paper. But what I want to do on this page to be different is I want to have a piece that folds over here and these two lock in place with like a string here with a button or something. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm still going to use this same piece, but I'm going to cut another piece that comes underneath this side. So I need another piece with a 1/2 inch flap that I tuck under this piece and bring back over. So let's measure that. So what I'm going to do is cut this piece, the height of my binder, and that is 7 1/4. Now I'm going to come from the edge of the binding system and measure, making sure I have enough room to clear the fold, and that'll go to 6 inches. Okay, 7 1/4 by 6 inches. But remember, we need that 1/2 inch to tuck under, so it's going to be 6 1/2. So 7 1/4 by 6 1/2 in craft. That's the color I'm going to use. Alright, so this is our 7 1/4 by 6 1/2 piece, and I'm going to score it 1/2 inch in, just like we've been doing, to get us that fold. So I'm going to score it at 6. Now one thing I'm going to do different on these pages, only because I can, because it's not going to hurt anything, is I'm just going to use my regular corner rounder here, just for speed, just because it'll still be rounded. It just won't be that same round, but it won't matter because I'm not using that angle or that curve anywhere. That was just a lot faster there. Okay, let's build it. So I've got this dude. Got to take these dudes and put some wet adhesive on them. Okay. Put it in the slot. This is all becoming old hat, isn't it? We can all do this. What do we have to remember here? We want to make sure we center our holes at the ends and make sure we can clear that fold no problem, because we want our pages to be able to go both ways. So there's one. Isn't it amazing how versatile this little technique is? It really, really blows my mind how versatile and how easy this is to do. There's two. You just have to kind of sit down and picture it from start to finish, and then you can do it no problem. Now then, I got a little glue sticking out right there. For this piece, we're going to glue it on this side of our binding piece. So I'm going to go ahead and put wet glue down. And then I'm going to slide it to where that binding piece is right next to my fold so that my paper can still fold all the way over. So see what we've kind of created? I guess not what we kind of created, what we've actually created. So we have a flap and 3 pages that we're fixing to add into our mini album. So let's get it out and get it ready to go. Another reason I really enjoy this system is because I'm using so much wet glue. We're going to glue this in right here, just like that. So this piece will be in this manner, okay? Then this will flip over and we can do something to tie it like a pocket. Then look at all this room we've got. So I'm going to glue it down really good. Then we'll just line it up. And I'm going to line it up with that closed so I can see how much of the edge I'm leaving exposed. Then we're going to smush it down. You're going to have glue come out probably. Just wipe it away with your finger. It'll dry clear. And if you feel the need, you might want to sit something down to kind of weight it. I like to go through and make sure all my pages can move. If any glue is seeped through, I like to get that out. And then double check this to make sure it's down really good. Now see, we can put another mat right here. Let's do that while we're at it. I'm going to use some of this scrap paper. Will this one work? Heck yeah, it will. Okay. So, I don't know. Yeah, I do want it there. I do. And then we're going to figure this hole. Oh, we need to do this one too. Okay, we'll get to it. Hold on. Oh, I didn't measure. Nobody said nothing. You didn't tell me to measure. Okay. This is why this needs to be live, so y'all can go, Amy, measure. I want it to let's see, will it overlap? Yes, it will. Just barely. So I really just have to measure the height. And I want that to be 7 1/4, right? I didn't need to measure. I knew that one. Okay. Now I'm going to try doing this with my corner rounder. And I'm just going to do the 1/4. Because I don't want it to be quite as round. Because it's not going to match the curve I already have. I'm just doing a tiny little round on that one. It's getting so heavy, so full. Okay, lay that down there, and then I'm going to put this here. Yep, I like it. I like it. Now, just in case you're wondering, you can use ATG in these parts. I don't feel like this is going to take that much, you know, work or effort in this area. No pulling or tugging or anything. So I'm just going to use ATG here. This is actually my 1/2 inch wide ATG, which I adore. If you can get one of those, I highly recommend it. So look at there. Now we can do something here. We've got our pages. We've got this. We've got this. Let's mat this real quick. I like to check, and recheck. Are y'all tired of me measuring 7 1/4 by 6? So I need to cut this to 7 and 5 3/4. Alright, so look, this is a piece of scrap paper that I had left over where I've cut some away. So I'm going to use this one and cut it down to 7 and 5 3/4. Ooh, a barely little bit off. This is why you save your scraps, because you don't want to, first off, I'm not going to waste this paper because it's gorgeous. But secondly, they work. And on this one, I'm going to round the edges with that same corner rounder because I already used it. This one's the 1/2 inch. Only got around 2 sides because it's going on a flat side. So it's going to go like this. Looking good. So we have this flap, and then I have 1 page, 2 page, 3 pages, another mat, this flap, and now when we close this up, we're going to wrap this over. Oh, I even used the same? No, it's similar. And then I'm going to put one of my buttons from my antique haul right here. I have this piece of craft that is a scrap, and I'm going to use it right here because I want this pocket to show, and then if I want to mat it, I can. So this pocket needs to come up. I'm going to make it come up high. I'm going to make it come up 3 1/2 inches by, that's 3 3/4. So 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. Now remember how I used my circle punch to make that little slot? I'm going to do the same thing here. And this is going to be, which side is up? I don't like guessing. Never guess, because that's when we cause ourselves problems. So pick it up. You know, if you have to bring it over here, check. See what I'm saying? So I got around the bottom of it. So this is the top. So I'm going to put this guy in and make me a little slot. My other one's still in there. So there I have a little pocket slot. And this one I am going around with my flower punch because that's what I've been using in this area. It doesn't really take any longer. It's just, I was going to show you that you can use both. Okay, now this one needs wet adhesive because it's going to be a pocket. You want to make sure you use wet so that when you put something in it, it won't stick. Okay. This is going to have a tiny little edge because it looks like I cut it like 1/8 of an inch short. Okay, so let's look at this page together. This is page number 2. And we have a book style flap here. It opens up to 3 pages here. Look at all this room for embellishing. Then we have this little guy. So guys, page 1. Page 2, look at all that room. I'm really happy with all that. And then we will start on this guy on Monday. On Monday we'll start on this guy, and let me see what we're going to be doing. Monday when we get together, we're going to be doing the it's kind of like a matchbox style, and I'm actually going to use a different product here. I don't want to tell you too much because I want to surprise you. So we're going to be doing a different kind of style on this page than either of these. So when we get together, that's what we'll do, and then the next time we'll put page 4 together. All right, guys, thanks for sticking in there with me. I'm really glad you guys are enjoying this, and I hope you're learning from it. Let's do a quick flip through. Page 1, oh, I forget it opens this way. Page 1 opens like this. We have 3 tags in there. We have our flip page, and then page 2 opens like this, and we have these pages and a pocket, which we can build a tag for, and then we'll move on. All right, guys, I hope you're enjoying it, and thanks for sticking around with me, and I will see you guys again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.